Hello and welcome to the weekly news discussion. Well, weekly or whenever I decide I want to post a video, but hopefully weekly. Uh, this is gonna be off the dome, so if I fuck up, that's how it goes. Like I have some stuff like ready to go, but I haven't like made a script or anything underlined. But what I want to do is like talk about like a big story that's out in the news, or maybe I'll combine like multiple news stories into one single thing. But interesting stuff that I think would be super cool to know more about. So for this week, it was tied between like a couple of things. So we had either Trump's individual comments that he made, like recently the pet eating comments by Trump. Trump still calling immigrants animals and not caring what his rhetoric is. He had another one blaming Jewish voters if he lost, but and then we have the Hezbollah members getting killed by pagers. That was also an interesting story because we look into things like multiple theories of people saying that Israel managed to hack the the phones and was able to put or was able to overload them at a point where they were able to explode and kill some of the members and injuring hundreds more. And then it comes out that Israel was definitely behind the attack, but they infiltrated some point of the production system where they're able to put like explosives or do something to their devices where they will be able to like detonate them and stuff like that. Then it comes out that actually no, these devices were specifically made for Israel, so they can carry out these assassinations basically. And then it was also confirmed by Israel that said that the time to like strike with the their pagers was slipping, so they had to do it soon, and it felt like right now was like the perfect time to do it. It is unfortunate that you had innocent bystanders like children, like that one girl, or people who are just shopping around a grocery store or could have been in some other location, either having to witness that or they themselves being a part of it where they were mistakenly, close to a person who had a pager and then they also got injured with it. So there's like multiple news stories that are really interesting. But I decided to settle down with Mark Robinson because that was a new story that's I guess refreshing to many people, and many people don't know about like voting or like races. That's not part of like the national one. So now if you look at your own local elections, like some people can't even list the bills being proposed, who's getting nominated, and stuff like that. And that's one of the most important things to look into, because if you're not paying attention to local politics, then you're suffering more from it, because at the local level, you see the effects more. So choosing between a candidate who wants to continue supporting businesses, reinvest into the community, such as fixing potholes, building new housing projects, or improving the quality of life for the residents, you wouldn't know that candidate because you haven't done the research or you haven't looked into what's going on locally and stuff like that. And by you not going out to vote, maybe a candidate like that loses out to some incumbent that people only know the name of since they've been in the seat for so long, but they haven't really done much for the city. So yeah, so it's important to like look at news stories like that. Like even if it's like one-off random ones like this, like Mark Robinson, I think it's very interesting just to start learning, even if it's just for like 5 minutes a day or going just like one article that's beyond the headlines could like definitely like increase your knowledge of what's going around, not just locally but nationally and globally, because you've done that like what 5 to 10 minutes of reading that's past the headline, so you'll be informed and you'll be ready to discuss it if anybody ever brings it up. So imagine you have a parent who says, "Oh, did you know that Haitians were eating dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets?" And then, given the fact that you're able to read the article or watch a video, that details what that events actually meant, you could be like, "Oh no, that's a lie that some person spread on the internet because they heard it from a neighbor, and that neighbor was lying, and then she was also lying." And that's that entire story is crazy. Like the whole, I can go into it. Like the lady when she was apologizing, saying that she didn't think it would be that far. She's in full MAGA gear, blah 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 blah. So these people are like very spineless. They always scream and shout. The rhetoric. Oh my God, the left is being such um doomsayers. They're what's the right word to be saying it for that? But they're basically like pushing the country to a point of being like super violent when they themselves are like turn down the rhetoric. But yes, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Democrats need to die. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, so it's definitely like important to start learning some of this stuff. And already 5 minutes in, and I only covered the topic, so let's get right into it. So we start off with a candidate that I don't know who this was, but since it got brought to a spotlight with the comments he made and the stuff that's resurfacing from a news report that I think CNN first broke, since they started doing the research about it, that we have a Republican nominee for North Carolina governor who was seen that posting like many years ago like racist remarks and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into it. So of course you see that he's campaigning for the governor race in North Carolina, and the reason why is because it's he posted racist and explicit messages on pornographic websites, and of course this is more than a decade ago, but this guy is like clearly unhinged, and especially supporting a candidate like that, and especially since in lieu of those comments coming out, even though they are a decade old, he has still like maintained the fact that he's just a culture war spouting dumbass basically. So you can't really say that it's like a decade ago, so he definitely like changed his opinions. What if he's a better person and stuff like that? When clearly he hasn't changed because he's still spouting the same nonsense, even if it's not to the level of calling himself the black Nazi as he likes to call himself. He still likes to fight against the woke mob or fight against culture war bullshit and not even focus on any policies and stuff like that. So it clearly shows that even if he doesn't want to call himself a black Nazi anymore, he still supports those what's the right word for it? Basically just the hateful rhetoric against gender and things of that nature. So going down the list, this is really important just to understand who Robinson is. Robinson also quickly drew attention for stoking conservative culture wars, especially on sex and gender politics, right? So this is in 2019. So people keep saying, "Oh, it's a decade-old post. You shouldn't like take it as it's him still being out." But this was literally posted in 2019. So what, 5-6 years ago, where he admitted paying for his then girlfriend to have an abortion, and then saying that abortion in America was about killing the children because you're basically irresponsible enough to keep your skirt down, right? So, great comments from this guy. 2021, he said, filth when discussing gay and transgendered people. So imagine going out of your way at a church that should supposedly be nonpartisan. So you don't spout your politics and stuff like that, where you just want to discuss your biblical stories and blah 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 blah. But then you're going out of your way as a member of our Congress, as a member of the people who like write laws and basically run this nation for the everyday American, when he goes, out and says these things in public, and he still gets some support from it. Like, it's ridiculous where like people don't have any spine when they discuss stuff like this. So you can call Trump a Nazi, a dictator, and stuff like that, which he has proven time and time again with the comments he's been making. And people and Republicans just like, oh, the reason why Trump wants to get people want to assassinate Trump is because of Democrats and the language they use, when they themselves support language like this, and then even though it's Twitter, it's coming from politically important people, so they're not just your random average Joe and Janes going around saying that, oh, Kamala Harris is the devil, blah blah blah. You have actual politicians going out of their way of saying that That these people are basically evil. That they use events that happen to Democratic candidates or the people on the left in general, and attacking them for it, making fun of them for those events. But when a Democrat wants to approve the double sidedness of things, people said, no, you can't be saying that. You're turning up the rhetoric. This is what's gonna get more people killed. But it's ridiculous when they themselves support comments like filth. It's stupid. So the allegations are the allegations are basically that he posted on porn sites, and mind you, when he posted, he used his own pictures. So and his own email. It wasn't like that difficult to find. It didn't take like somebody without. It can take somebody like in middle school to figure this out by reading context clues and easily figuring out that it was him making his comments. So basically, he left comments on porn site message boards where he referred to himself as the Black Nazi, right? Preferred Hitler to President Barack Obama, called Martin Luther King worse than a maggot, and that he enjoyed transgender porn. And just look at this one single paragraph. Republicans can go off and say that no, it's like more than a decade old. He's no longer a black Nazi. Oh, uh, you know, Hitler was like a strong man. Maybe yeah, I'll support Hitler or President Obama. Did you see what Obama did? He made this country worse. But then they read the line of saying that he enjoyed transgender porn, and it's that one comment of people being who they want to be. Be happy with themselves, and that's where Republicans take issue, or people on the right take issue with. Like the other comments are fine with them, but when it comes to transgender people or anything culture or politics related, they lose their minds, right? So if they're gonna see any dips in the polling, it's gonna be because of the he enjoyed transgender porn, right? It's yeah, like the division in this country is crazy. But yeah, like moving on to the next one, where we still see that he made comments, responding to the article, and the thing he basically said in it is where he says the things that you'll see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. My words, my character, and that have been completely transparent in this race and before. Robinson added, well, he's definitely been transparent with the comments he's been making, because he called gay and transgender people filth, and he makes the other comments of preferring it's crazy that people, like, regardless of like your political affiliation and stuff like that, when you have concrete evidence of you saying something, you still go out of your way and deny it, which of course you don't know how to do, because you're not gonna go up there and say, yeah, I'm a black Nazi. But it's stupid how people can read that and be like, oh yeah, I trust him now, yeah, he is, even though he continues to prove himself time and time again that he's still basically the same person who has a hateful heart towards other people. So you can't undermine the previous comments he made on those websites, because at least to me, he's still that person. And for this race, it's definitely having like a bigger impact. It's not. I guess it's not having that crazy of an impact on the governor race for North Carolina. Because skipping ahead, we see that in the race for North Carolina, like the Democrat Stein has been having a decent lead in the beginning, where they're neck and neck. But now it's like yeah, like if things go well, then Stein is the next governor. It shouldn't be that hard to do it. And then when these comments were released, I think it was at a point sometime this time. Let's see. Oops. 2 days ago. What's this posted? Recently. Yeah, so like you can see that his lead has been like increasing ever since the story broke out. So like, even though the story comes out and makes Robinson look bad, I guess it just further cements his like loss. So it doesn't have that much of an interesting impact, but the story's more interesting due to the fact of these are the people in the Republican Party. These are the people that Trump supports. So if you go out of your way saying that both sides are evil, I'm not gonna vote for this presidential election, then you're just like so mind broken that it's not even funny. Cause you don't accept, like, if there's one or two things you don't like about the Democratic, cool, whatever. But when you look at what's going on between both political parties and still say that both sides are evil, then you're clearly just like reading headlines, watching pundits, or you're just completely lost on politics, on why. And this is on which is why you should be able to watch videos like this, or like go further in depth into reading and stuff like that, to understand that yes, Democrats do stuff time to time, but at the same time, Republicans are far worse. And time again, they have proven that they are worse. Not just for themselves, for the party, the red extremes, and for the American people, because, and the world, because, America is like the strongest superpower. We basically control a ton of a ton of the culture aspects of different nations. People look towards us to see for the dollar, so the economy and stuff like that. So when you go out of your way and say both sides are evil, you're basically condemning the whole world to evil, basically. Because you don't understand that both sides have the different aspects to themselves, and one is clearly worse than the other. And when you further dig into it, it's not even further digging in. Just barely reading an article, you understand that Republicans are far worse, not just for you, but for the world, because they don't support you. They don't care about you, right? You can look at a Democratic person, they're like, oh, they don't care about me. But time and time again, Democrats have proven themselves to want to support you and everybody else, and not just for themselves, to line their pockets with money. But yeah, like, in lieu of all this, Trump, yeah, he returns without Mark Robinson. But for us, the Democrats and stuff like that are still gonna link them, because that's one of them. That's a powerful tool to show that Trump is aligning himself with people who are crazy, which is not. You look at Lauren Loomer, you look at the people who are around him, which is not like this far fetched thought, because time and time again he's proven himself to be an idiot. But yeah, looking further, oh, this is all like in lieu of, like, he drops Mark Robinson, so not canon supporting not he drops Mark Robinson from his campaigning coverage, right? But that's one of the many 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 things that Trump wants to that has been pushing Trump, I guess, poll numbers a little more down, even though it's like somewhat ridiculously close, which is stupid, because how can, with everything Trump's been saying, people there's still like this close alignment between both parties, so like who's gonna win the presidential election, stuff like that. Of course, Harris is doing what, 3.6. Like, she's doing super good, especially after Joe Biden dropped out. Like, you see Trump, like, you said he dropped out when Harris is rising, because Harris is a much more stronger candidate than Trump. Like, at first, I didn't really think Harris. Like, I had this thought in my head. It's like, oh, if Biden were to die tomorrow, would would Harris be able to win? And I always had this thought. It's like, no, we would be cooked. Like, Trump would be the one who will be able to take over. But ever since Biden dropped out, Biden hasn't really been in the spotlight. It's been Harris constantly, and for good reason, because she leads herself super well with the American people, and she's able to discuss stuff of like national importance and actually give policy positions, while Trump is continuously attacking like the culture side of everything. So it makes sense that he's dropping and Harris is rising, because now she's proven herself to be like a strong candidate and a very good speaker, and to show that comments made saying stuff like, oh, Harris wouldn't be able to put herself in front of world leaders and defend America as a nation, will be a laughingstock, will be a joke, and will be seen as weak, where she clearly stood up, won the debate with Trump, and shown that if she's able to win against Trump, who's to say that Trump is going to win against the other world leaders who have constantly had him in a leash, with people like Xi, Putin. It's ridiculous. You can't look at Harris and say that she's weaker than Trump when she has clearly proven herself that she's stronger, right? So yeah, this further cements Trump's further declining numbers with the people he aligns himself with. like Mark Robertson with Loomer, where Harris accepts a second debate invitation, and Trump says after the debate, no, he's not gonna accept another one because why should a winner accept another debate? Well, shouldn't a winner accept it and further crush the debate opponent to show him that they are the stronger opponent, which clearly shows that he lost the race, which was very indicative. I mean, not indicative, which is very clear when we got news reports of after the debate he'll go to his staff and ask him how he did, and the staff will basically be kissing his ass the entire time. But really, behind the scenes, they're saying that Trump bombed it so hard. Trump's comments against Jewish voters, where he basically said if he loses, it's because of the Jews who voted for like Kamala. Other stuff where House Republicans are trying not to listen to him, as Trump continues to try to influence them and stopping any bills being passed in Congress, like he was with successfully stopping the immigration bill, where you pushed the Republican Party to not support it, not to give the Democrats a win, which and it ended up not passing, And then in this case, we're like a couple weeks away from a government shutdown, and Trump is trying to use that point to stop any bill from passing. So when it fails and the government shuts down, the Democrats could be the ones who look back and take the loss. But the Republican Party, which is like known to be bootlickers and kissing the ass of Trump, basically said that they're gonna defy his wishes, and basically come to talks with the Democrats, where they want to hold formal talks on a mostly drama-free spending bill that punts the major policy fights until after the election, including a Trump-backed measure that would require proof of citizenship to vote. And even though it's not like concretely put into words, but this is from like a private conversation and stuff like that, where Johnson is defending nearly 24 seats in blue-leaning tariffs, and some of those members privately warned Johnson that a government shutdown meant that they could lose their seats. So Johnson, to protect not only his own leadership in the House, which is quite fragile, like it was with McCarter, where he's looking at not just his own political future, but the future of other Republicans who are fighting against Democrats and Democratic leaning races, where he told GOP leaders basically, and Trump himself, that he can't really support his bill because if he does, then even if the government does shut down, then their side loses. So he's gonna work with Democrats to basically pass the bill, and that even Trump knows that his suggestion is outlandish because Johnson suggested that Trump understands that the GOP voting bill can't pass. So Trump himself knows it can't pass. So there's no point of pushing for it, Because at the end of the day, it'll affect Republicans the most. But yeah, but like all these stuff going on recently, it's like no wonder Trump has been seeing a decline in polls, and I really continue hopes. I continue to hope that the polls continue trending that way, and that Democrats and Harris continue having this nice lead over Republicans and take the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Because at the end of the day, the Democrats are gonna be fighting for us, and the Republicans under Trump have proven nothing. Have proven that they don't care about us, and we've become definitely weaker as a nation due to Republicans, and that it's not just to be like, oh, so ideologically locked to like my side, like the left being as a social democrat being locked to that side. It's not that I'm saying that just to support Democrats just because I support Democrats. It's to show that they have a proven track record of being better and more beneficial towards the American people. So yeah, that's one of the news stories I wanted to cover and like go over because I thought it was like very interesting. As a first like one off, I just wanted to do it real quick just to dip my toes into it. But yeah, it would be like more interesting to break down other events going on. So like maybe I'll go over like the the local bills going on here in California to see what you might what you might be able to support and stuff like that, or like give you more information about it. Which I think I will. I definitely do. I will because I can do like my research stream, so I know what's going on, so I know who to vote for, and it can be like useful for everybody else to be able to read and understand. Oh, like this is the bill. This is what it actually means. Okay, I'm gonna support it, or I won't support it, and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely want to do more stories where like I tackle maybe the strikes going on in Israel, Palestine, and then the involvement with Hezbollah. Um, More stuff relating to the political election going on in America. Or like one-off stupid topics like the fast food stuff, like the most interesting stuff getting released. Maybe I'll do that. Like I have a list at the end of like light-hearted stories of like, oh, look at the new snack or the new food or the new whatever getting released. Like, doesn't this look interesting to try? Or maybe if I buy something, I like turn on my webcam and try and see like, oh look, this is the review and stuff like that. But I think it'd be like very interesting to break down and like just see and understand what's going on. But yeah, first video off the dome, definitely a ramble fest. But I think that's the kind of energy I want to put out. Or maybe I'll have like the same concept of having everything highlighted, and maybe do like a short bullet points so I know where to go and keep my thoughts organized. But yeah, I definitely want to do more like the ramble-ish type things because you understand like my perspective and understand where like I'm coming from and stuff like that. And I think it'll be like interesting to know because I might bring up like a topic on the offhand and you'll be like, oh, I wonder what that is, and maybe you yourself go out and like read more about it. So that'd be cool. But yeah, that's basically it.